yourself.
Hey, everybody. It's another episode of Go Flix Yourself. My name is Ben Konowitz, and with me, as always, is the frosted mini wheats to my golden grams, Bradford Oman.
Hey, that's me. Top is delicious. The rest is trash.
And you know what, Nate? You're the Lucky Charms to my golden grams. Because you know what? There are some there's some shy little pieces here. But you know what? It's punctuated with so much flavor and zest for life. I love you, buddy.
Hey, sidebar. Doing Irish leprechaun impression is probably going to get me canceled, right?
I don't think so.
No, not at all. That's white. You can do white. Anything white's good.
Hey, guys, I miss you.
Yeah, that's not the first time Ben said that.
God damn it. I can't believe
It just really did come out a little too easily.
Just said it without any hesitation whatsoever.
Just like that phrase has come out a couple times.
I can't believe it.
Anything white's good. Ben Konowitz. You heard it here first, folks.
Get your Go Flix Yourself mugs with Ben's. We're getting shirts made.
Can we edit that out?
No, that is too good.
You know what I mean? Context. I know how Colin Jost feels.
Except Colin has to say it. You choose to say it.
Oh, man.
So anyway, join me next week for my apology tour, where I'll be visiting synagogues and mosques around the world.
But not churches, apparently.
So we were gone for a week. We did not. Did we do an episode last week? No, we didn't.
No movies came out either. So.
You guys were. Yeah. Well, it does seem like that. I went to go see a movie this week, but I just wish there were more movies.
I went to go see a movie this week, and he just went to the theater and said closed.
No, sorry, no movies.
I just couldn't decide. Like there was no. Sometimes I go to the movies. It's like there's three good choices.
Yeah.
And I liked the movie I saw, but it wasn't like anything that I was dying to see. But I just wanted to go see a film. So maybe it's just the doldrum of December.
It's a movie podcast where we talk about the latest movies you've seen. We talk about some trailers, and Ben makes some really, really
questionable remarks
that he doesn't mean. We always start off with the sponsor. Brad, please don't do the thing you always do, and just tell us who the sponsor is.
Ben. It's the holiday season, so hoop-de-hoop and lickety-blot, and
what?
Don't forget the cookies that you like to eat.
I do like a good cookie.
Oh, well, we're going to see how you feel about these cookies, Nate.
I hope they're not like gingerbread.
They're not gingerbread. No, they're definitely not gingerbread. So this is a holiday exclusive from our old friends at Pepperidge Farm. They came out with a new flavored cookie this year, and that I'm gonna let you take it from the bag.
Did you get this from the Pepperidge Farm store?
I did not. I just got this from the regular store, Meijer, regional Walmart. And don't look at the front of the bag. Just take a cookie out. Don't look at the bag.
Hey, grab me a cookie.
Yeah, don't look at the bag. Don't show Nate either. Yeah, there you go. Cup it and don't look at it. I've said that before too. Yeah, so take the cookie, give it a little crunch.
I'm smelling it.
It does have a nice scent to it. It smells like potpourri.
This is in your grandma's bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it smells like.
How do you feel about this cookie, Nate? I feel like this is a classic cookie, and like because you like those cookies that come in the tin.
I do like those cookies, yeah.
Yeah.
The butter cookies.
Mm-hmm.
The Biscoff?
No, that's a completely different cookie.
The butter ones that have like the
Danish cookies that come in the blue tin.
The Milanos?
No. The ones that Chloe Trost brought to the.
Yep.
I don't know why I'm making so many SNL references this episode, but.
It's good, but I don't really get a good. It tastes just like those cookies, actually.
Yeah. So
is it peppermint?
It's not peppermint. It's it's holiday nog. It's eggnog flavored, basically.
Do you get the nog in there?
A little bit. It's I think you can smell it more than you can taste it. Actually,
it's nog-ish.
Yeah. But
it's the way I like my eggs. Nogged.
These are Chessman cookies. If you ever had the Chessman Pepperidge Farm cookies, they're kind of like butter cookies, and those are pretty good. But these have like a cinnamon eggnog, like creamy kind of almost flavor to them. So yeah, it's not strong, but they're all right.
They're good.
Yeah,
I like these type of
solid.
cookies.
Yeah, for not being chocolate, it's not bad.
Do you like chocolate cookies?
I do.
Do you like eggnog?
I like chocolate everything. No, I don't actually.
At all?
I mean, I'll have like, I'm not joking. I'll have a half of a cup, like the actual measurement, half a cup.
Yeah.
Like that much. And I'm like, good for the night. Like
okay.
it's so thick. And
It's thick and rich for sure.
It's a lot, you know.
Would you enjoy it more if it came in like a National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation
I think I'd probably,
Wally World mug?
I would end up getting hammered because I couldn't stop just doing bits. Like, I'll drink it again. Yeah.
My mom likes to have eggnog with hot damn in it.
In the morning before work?
Hot damn is cinnamon schnapps.
Oh.
And it's pretty good. I like it too.
Well, thanks for listening, everyone.
So that's it. Holiday Nog cookies. You can find them now in stores from Pepperidge Farm, and they always remember.
Well, hey, you know what? They remember to send a check. We sincerely thank you for sponsoring the show, Pepperidge Farms. We love you. Okay, well, I don't love that. Nate, let's start with you this week, buddy. What's the last movie you saw? Okay. God damn.
Just call it the Cookie Bros.
No, I'm not calling you anything. I'm calling you ruiners of the podcast. People don't like to hear you.
What do you like more? Do you like Cookie Bros or do you like Crunch Brothers? I think I'm leaning towards Crunch Brothers.
I mean,
because Crunch Brothers is all encompassing. It could be chips, could be candy. Yeah. Ben, we're gonna start a new podcast called Crunch Brothers. Do you want to get in?
I do not want in. I won't listen.
It's a great opportunity to get on the ground floor.
No.
Mm-hmm. This is gonna be the big one.
I hope it crumbles.
Ah.
You guys want to stop chewing into the mics? You good?
If you're asking. No.
I'm sorry, listener. I tried so hard. Nate, what's the last movie you saw, buddy?
So the last movie I saw was a movie called The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, recommended to me by my friend Brad.
Not assigned.
Nope.
Just recommended.
Mm-hmm.
No, I texted you guys, hey, I'm thinking about a couple movies, and Brad said that's the one you want to go to. And I'm not a Hunger Game. I think I saw the first Hunger Games film, but I don't think I saw the whole trilogy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So technically there's 4 movies. They split the third book into 2 movies. So.
Yeah. So I don't remember if I did. Maybe I did. I wasn't that enamored with them, but you really liked this film, and I wanted to see it. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. What is the main actress's name? Ziegler?
Rachel Ziegler.
Yeah, Rachel Ziegler. Way better than Jennifer Lawrence is as the lead of this.
Oh, boy. Oh.
I love it.
All right.
I'm here for it.
No, it's really interesting, actually, because...
For those of you that don't know, Brad has a thing for Jennifer Lawrence.
Brad doesn't just have a thing for Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence is his wife, so be respectful.
There is a restraining order
against anybody who tries to come after my wife.
Keep Brad's wife's name out of your mouth.
So
that would have been funnier if I didn't screw it up.
No, it's okay. Keep
all right.
doing it.
Cool.
Oh,
wow.
So I did text you and say, I don't know a ton about this world. Is it okay to go in and watch the film not knowing a ton?
Absolutely.
And it was fine. The thing I don't love, though, about films like this is, so I know enough about the Donald Sutherland character, right? Snow, I think is his last name, right?
Jon Snow.
And he is a villain in the film, in the main films. And this kind of tells his story a little bit. And I don't like feeling sympathetic for villains. And you kind of do at the beginning. You kind of get to like this guy, and then at the end, you know, you don't love him as much. And so I didn't like that part of it.
You love movies that make you feel sad.
Yeah, no, but this makes you feel angry, not sad, like just angry, because
I think it's kind of perfect for just like this time too, kind of in the way that like the Hunger Games have become a little more resonant in recent years, especially after a certain president kind of fucked things up for everybody. And people,
thanks, Obama.
New audiences have been finding them again and kind of seeing just like how much they hit and kind of touch upon a lot of the complicated issues that we have today. And this kind of hits it too, because you have a person who like has been through the ringer and deals with a lot of stuff, and they're kind of trying to do right in a way, but they keep making the wrong decisions, and they keep leaning towards a path that you don't necessarily want to see them go on. And
Is this about me?
You feel for them, but like they're such a despicable person, you can't help but despise them in the end.
I get it.
I would say this: Rachel Ziegler continues to get better and better at what she does, and she's adorable in this. Very talented. Her songs are catchy. She's
a phenomenal singer.
Yeah. And so I'm liking her more and more. I like this film. am not the audience for this film. They did not make this film for me.
And honestly, they didn't really make it for me either, because as much as I did like the original Hunger Games movies, and I mentioned this when I talked about it after I saw it, I could not have given a shit about a movie about President Snow. I was like, I don't need that movie. But I was very pleased with the results.
Do you mean to say, and this is not a bit, do you mean to say that it's not for me, meaning it's aimed at a teenage audience?
No, it's aimed for people who love
this world.
Yeah, love the Hunger Games. Probably read the book, because it is based on a book.
So but that is you.
It's not, but not in the same way though. Like I'm not.
You're not a super fan.
I'm not immediately gung ho just because something is a Hunger Games movie. Like just because something says Hunger Games, something. I'm like, ooh,
it's kind of like
people
that love Game of Thrones. These kind of things. Like there's a whole world of people that just love this.
Yeah,
this.
exactly. And I liked the Hunger Games because they were good movies.
I'm more of a Maze Runner guy.
That's not a joke. The Maze Runner movies are fucking
awesome.
great.
No, I'm not joking.
Yeah.
They are fantastic.
So this is also, just so you know, because I didn't, this is a standalone movie. They're not going to have sequels to this. So.
Well, it's not that they won't. They just don't have any planned.
Because there's no book sequel.
Right. And initially, they were planning on doing other Hunger Games movies when there were no other books. But then Suzanne Collins was like, well, hey, I actually want to do this book. And they're like, oh, good. We can turn that into a movie.
How long before the Wayans brothers do like the Hangry Games?
Oh, they've already done it, actually.
Oh, really?
I believe it's Friedberg and Seltzer, the people who have brought us such great movies as Epic Movie and Date
Superhero movie. And
they did a movie called The Starving Games, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Hangry's right there.
Starving Games.
Okay.
That's what they did.
So the other film that I saw that I want to talk about...
Have they been jailed?
I mean, I hope so.
Okay.
The other film I saw that I want to talk about is The Holdovers. I don't know if I talked about that last time. I don't think I did.
I don't think you did, and I'm glad you brought it up, Nate, because I also saw The Holdovers.
And you know what? Spoiler alert, I didn't.
You should, because
I'm going to.
It is a great film. It is going to go into my Christmas film repertoire.
I knew it would.
Paul Giamatti is fantastic in this film.
Real quick, what does it take for a Christmas film not to make it into the rotation?
It has a full frontal nudity, probably.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You watch, like, it doesn't... When's the last time a movie didn't
I've
make
seen
it?
some, like, Lifetime Christmas movies that don't make it into, like, like cheesy kind of... There was one with...
Is Christmas with the
there was
cranks
like
in your rotation?
No. But, like, there was one...
What about Deck the Halls?
No, I don't think that I do watch Deck the Halls often.
Wait, what?
I don't watch Deck the Halls.
I thought you said I do watch.
No,
Deck
I don't
the Halls
watch.
often.
No, I mean I've seen Deck the Halls, but I don't watch it
multiple
often.
times, like once a year at
like
Christmas.
Films that also have emotional meaning to me. Prancer. I watch Prancer every year. It's a Wonderful Life. I watch multiple times at Christmas season because I just bawl my eyes out every time. Do you like It's a Wonderful Life? What?
He's Potter. I mean, come on.
It's.
I liked it when it was Pottersville. That was a great scene.
Do you watch all of the Santa Claus movies or just the first one?
Oh no, I'll watch them all.
Oof, that's rough.
No, it is. It is. But I kind of have a little bit of a crush on Elizabeth Mitchell.
Okay.
So
Famous from Mitchell's versus the Machines.
no, but
Okay.
I like the attempt. So they do get worse and worse. I have not. What's interesting is I've not watched the Santa Claus's TV show.
I watched the first couple episodes, and it was not bad. It kind of felt like a little bit of a return to form to the original movie as far as the comedic tone. Because my biggest problem with those movies is they just got extremely cartoonish and just way over the top.
Who's the SNL cast member that talks shit?
Yeah, Casey Wilson just recently came out and
I love this so much.
And just flat out said that Tim Allen was just a little bitch.
Yeah, the story she shared is like
Clauses.
just awful.
Like just you don't look him in the eye. Like the classic stuff from like the 60s, 70s, 80s that you thought you can't get away with anymore because there's footage and like people tweet and clearly he's being held to task here. Now how far that'll go, it'll go nowhere.
Oh no, of course not.
But it's just her opinion is like, yeah, it was so awkward and cringy on set because you couldn't look at him in the eye. He would do his take and he would leave. We'd be waiting around forever for him to come to set. Unprofessional, terrible guy, Tim Allen.
You have to be an ethical, decent person to know that you are the most important person, because Tim Allen is the most important person on that set. You don't do that show without him and still be a decent person. Like Keanu Reeves is a decent person but also, on every set he is, and he knows he's also the most important person.
There's also a list of like hundreds of people that are the A-listers that are nice. Yeah, sure, there's plenty that are dicks. But like to take it to that level where it causes somebody to be like, this is the worst single experience I've ever had on a set.
I'm just saying there is there's A-listers that are nice, but also A-listers that can get replaced. Tim Allen cannot be replaced from that. He knows he can't be replaced from that.
Yeah.
And so you have to be a decent person to know that truth and still, like, and he's not a decent person. He's just not a decent person.
How much of a piece of shit do you have to be to realize that you were in a movie called Galaxy Quest where you were that person?
Yeah, I love Galaxy Quest.
And I love it. And he's probably because it's pretty close to home. He's playing himself.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dick.
So anyway, The Holdovers, Paul Giamatti. So this film is essentially 3 actors, is most of the film. And it is about Paul Giamatti's a teacher at a private school. And so let me kind of break it down a little bit. So the 3 main actors are Paul Giamatti. I don't know the other names. You can look that up.
Dominic Sessa plays the teenage boy who's at the school.
He's new, right? I don't think he's been in anything.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with him. And then Divine Joy Randolph.
And she's been in something else.
She's been in some stuff. It's kind of like I would say it's like a breakthrough performance, but she was in Dolomite Is My Name and The Lost City.
Let me say this.
She's great in Dolomite Is My Name.
Performances by Paul Giamatti and I can't remember her name. I'm sorry.
Divine Joy Randolph.
For me, are actually award worthy, and that's something to be said for a Christmas film, right?
And let's be clear, this isn't like any normal Christmas film. This is a film from Alexander Payne.
And it is set at Christmastime.
Who did Sideways, which is what won Paul Giamatti his Oscar, and he also did Election with Reese Witherspoon. He's done some fantastic films.
So this is kind of a film where they've had films before where essentially you see relationships being formed based on proximity. And that's what happens, right? But these relationships between Paul Giamatti and the other 2 characters, one of them is a lunch lady, the other is a student that's kind of, you get to see he's got
a bit of a misfit.
He's a little bit of a misfit that has a good core to him. And so you don't dislike him at all, but he doesn't necessarily know where he fits in. And they become a family to a certain extent.
So he's doing dickish things, but he's not a dick.
Yeah, he's just a little bit of a rascal. And like really what it is Paul Giamatti as a teacher, he's a very rough around the edges, and just it's clear that not a lot of people like him very much. He's very curmudgeonly.
He's very smart.
Yeah, doesn't really cut anybody any slack, especially the students. And it's clear like
I said, it's a private school, so like a lot of the people have wealth. But this kid doesn't necessarily. He's there. It's Christmas break. His parents don't come and get him. His mom and his stepdad, I think, right?
Yeah.
And so he's essentially stuck there, but he wants to go see his dad. So the whole movie is kind of or at least the second or third act of the movie is them going to New York City, I believe. Boston. And they find his dad and
spoiler. But
the promise the journey is certainly the film, right? And I just the performances were just wonderful. I mean, it was
to me, this is like one of maybe
it'll
like,
probably be a top 10 film for me for the year. Honestly.
This is one of the best performances that Paul Giamatti has given since Sideways, because I think he's great in Straight Outta Compton, and there's a couple other things that he's been very good in as well. But this is just the first
it's a masterclass.
The first lead performance in Sideways where I've been just like, man, he's so good.
Yep.
Did you do American Splendor?
He did, yeah.
So you like this a lot too?
Yeah, I really dug this a lot too. Funnily enough, I had a fun theatrical experience that I told Ben about over the weekend, because I did a double feature over the weekend, and and this was the second movie that I went to see. I went to the AMC showplace over in South Bend, and I sat down and going through the first 10 minutes of the movie, and throughout the first 10 minutes, this is a quiet movie too. Alexander Payne makes these quiet movies, you know. All I'm hearing is this just thundering and thumping bass from the theater next door, and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm like, I guess it'll stop, you know, it's just for like probably a scene or something like that. It's just relentless. It just keeps coming. And I go and check, and my assumption was that the Beyonce movie was probably playing next door, and I was right. And I was just like, whose decision was this? Like, why did you put the Beyonce
those
movie
right next to each other?
Yeah, and so I got a refund, and because I saw.
Oh, did you Karen this?
Because I didn't Karen it, because I just told him
he breaded it. Yeah.
No, I asked, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, it's very loud. I was like, and I don't think it's gonna get any better just because it's a concert movie. And so I got the ticket back because it was my AMC stubs, but the Michigan City Theater was playing one in very close enough proximity that I made it.
Did you walk in and go check to see if Beyonce was playing next door?
No, I just hoped and prayed. And I was right. It was very quiet and it worked perfectly.
Yeah. What was the other film you saw?
I saw. Are you done talking about movies?
Well, let me give one more.
Yeah.
So I was assigned the movie Spencer. It's a film I had not seen. I'm going to say this. I'm not a huge Kristen Stewart fan. I don't know why it is. I just don't resonate so much with her acting. I'm not a Twilight fan or anything like Ben. So
why?
I remember this film coming out and just not being excited about it. I'm not a huge Royals person.
No.
And so I can respect that what they go through
We
is
elect
hard.
our leaders in this country. They're not born into it.
I feel terrible for Princess Diana. I think she had a terrible life. But
Life? Or just like marriage?
well,
Her life was very difficult.
I don't know. I know nothing about it.
I think it got harder and harder,
Yeah.
honestly. But so this essentially is a film that is told about kind of the end of their marriage, what kind of precipitates the kind of mental state, emotional state that Diana was in. It gives you a glimpse of kind of what's going on in her life, the division that she has with the royal family.
Who plays Dodi Al-Fayed?
Why?
I'm just asking.
I don't think anybody did. I mean, nobody would know.
Well, I'm just saying, like, she died in a car crash with her lover, Dodi Al-Fayed.
Why do you? This is not about that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So this is about.
Let me ask you a question, Ben. What's your thought process for like how that's gonna land as a joke?
Well, and then I'm also wondering, like, was there a scene with like
I feel like in my head I was like, I just said that I don't know anything about her.
Yeah,
but
let me ask you about the most
But you
tragic
did.
part
But
of
you
her
did.
life.
No, but like a very.
But you did know something.
But then a very specific thing that no one knows: the name of who she was.
Everyone
I
knows
think people
that
know
name.
that.
Really?
But
Yeah, that was like.
Are you serious?
Diana's death was one of the most publicized
But you knew
events.
you knew his name.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without the John Mulaney bit.
Yes.
I mean, I genuinely. When did she die? 1997 or something, I think.
Yeah, mid-90s.
Yeah, I remember her dying, and I had no connection to the royal
Yeah.
family. Like, I remember that day. I remember my mom watching the TV. These kind
Same.
of things.
I guess
So-
the impetus for the joke then was that I assumed that nobody would know the name of her lover.
And you thought that it just sounded
I
funny
think
enough
everyone
on
does.
its own.
Everyone does. So back to the film. Well,
Well, Brad shouldn't ask me those questions if he doesn't know the answers.
So back to the film. So this is about an event that. So this actually is a set time film where Princess Diana is invited to with obviously Charles, who's in the middle of having an affair with Camilla Bowles, who is now his wife, and Diana is just in a weird space. She knows all this happening, but what do you do?
And they're about to have Christmas together.
Yep, and with the Queen.
Yeah.
Who. There's tension, right? Tension with everyone. Her friends are typically, or the people that are maybe slightly more allies, are typically kind of servants, people that work for them. And she doesn't want to do it, but what do you do, right? And so it's kind of just about that. It's about the struggle that she lives with, about, who is she? What is she going to do? Is this the life that she's going to live? Let me say this, because I preface it, I'm not a fan of Kristen Stewart. She acts her ass off here.
Yeah.
She's very, very good.
She's very good.
And I actually really, really enjoyed her performance in this. It is not a film that I would have chose to watch. It is not.
That's why I gave it to you.
I know. And I'm glad I watched it, but it's just, I don't know what. I think because she died, I'm 99% sure she died in 1997. Same year my mother died.
Oh.
And I just remember.
Great job, Brad.
No, it's fine. But I just
You're right. It's really upsetting for me to give a movie that came out about a woman who died the same year that Nate's mom died. When he gives me movies about dead fathers all the time,
I would never give you a film about a dead father.
I mean, I didn't know you were petty enough to like just remember that.
Oh, now it's just revenge.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I thought you were just bigger than that.
Just wait until I give him Bambi.
I think though this is why. Well, we're gonna get to Family Stone in a second because that was the film I gave Ben a dead mom movie, but I think that's why I've cordoned off Princess Diana a little bit because there is some contextual stuff from my own life.
Yeah.
But this is a really good film, and I was glad I watched it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you actually, where I wasn't a big fan of Kristen Stewart. I've liked her in some things. I don't think she's a terrible actress. I don't think she's done a lot that has like super impressed me.
Yeah.
In more recent years, there are things that I have really enjoyed her in, but I also don't give a shit about the royal family. Like I could not care less. Was very aware of Princess Diana and what happened with her and whatnot. And you hear things because they're always making headlines stuff like that. But
It just feels like there's a lot being done with the royal family and fiction
with the
stuff,
crown
right?
and all that stuff. But this movie blew me away. I was super impressed by it because it borders on being like a horror movie at times. It's very haunting.
I think Wikipedia calls it a psychological thriller.
Tricked him into watching a horror film
in a way.
No, it's more like a psychological thriller. That is hard for me as well. So I don't because it is. I would say it's not horror. It's suspenseful.
Yeah.
And it'll stress you out a little bit.
Absolutely, but yeah, it is stellar. And I do, man, that scene at the end too, where she's driving with her kids. I feel like that's such like an uplifting, great moment. I love that scene.
Yep, I agree. So those are essentially the movies that I've watched.
There you go. So I saw The Holdovers, as I discussed. My other movie that I saw was Saltburn, which is the latest movie from Emerald Fennell, the director of Promising Young Woman with Carey Mulligan. And this is in a similar vein, a dark thriller that has Barry Keoghan playing a student who is going to Oxford. And he's a bit of an outcast. He's kind of like more of a nerdy kid, and he's there on scholarship. So everyone there kind of looks down upon him because they're all rich snobby kids who are going to fucking Oxford. And Jacob Elordi, who is a pretty hot young star right now. He's also in Priscilla. He plays Elvis in that movie, and he plays this kid at Oxford who Barry Keoghan's character Oliver kind of takes a liking to, not only just because he's handsome, but he's very personable and like kind of embraces him a little bit.
Is that Barry
Keoghan?
Is he from Killing of Sacred Deer?
Yes,
he's the kid.
He's in Banshees of Inisherin.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha. Sorry, I was just trying to place him.
Yep. And so this movie follows their friendship as it comes together, and Barry Keoghan ends up going to stay at Jacob Elordi's family's estate, and like his family is fucking loaded, and they live like on like a house that is like Bruce Wayne's house, basically, just fucking huge. And so like it's established that like Barry Keoghan's family apparently is kind of messed up, and he doesn't really want to go home or anything like that. And he's embarrassed by it, and so he tells him to come. But like as this progresses, Jacob Elordi kind of starts learning that Barry Keoghan's character is a bit of a sociopath, and we have a very talented Mr. Ripley, single white female kind of situation, and it's really good. It is twisted and vicious, and Barry Keoghan is phenomenal in this movie. I really like this a lot. It's so good.
Is this something that he might be up for or something?
Yeah, I could see him getting some awards attention for this for sure. I would love to see that because he's great in it.
Good.
So yeah, good stuff.
Anything else?
I did. I've seen some other things.
What'd you see?
I saw Dream Scenario, the Nicolas Cage A24 movie. This is the movie where Nicolas Cage kind of plays this hapless professor who all of a sudden starts showing up in people's dreams, like tons of people around the world. He just kind of shows up and is there. And it's this really kind of, the story basically is a way of approaching the idea of like what it's like to quickly become famous and go viral and like what that life, and it kind of goes through the cycle of it. Nicolas Cage's performance is great just because he really does play kind of like this desperate goober who is like, he wants to be like well known for his work as a professor. He's trying to write a book, and so he tries to use this to like position himself to be able to get a book published. And so he deals with this like agency that's Michael Cera is the head of, and like they're trying to position him to like use his fame for something. And it's really funny. It's a great satire. It has a bit of darkness to it, as you would expect from an A24 movie as well. But I really like this one too. It was Cage, man. He's just, you think that you've got him pinned down for like doing certain things, and he just always comes at you with something different.
He just did an interview where he says he's done acting in movies.
I know, and he wants to do TV now because his son showed him Breaking Bad.
Yeah, his son's like, "What? We're gonna watch Breaking Bad?" And he's like, "I've never really watched television before. I didn't realize that's what it could be."
He's so weird.
Yeah, he's like, so I'm gonna be television
and he sounds so sincere when he says it, like
seriously.
he really did not watch television.
Yeah. It's just what a weird guy.
Nicolas Cage. Yeah, I will always be
never change.
I will always be interested.
Never change. Never change
in the Cage. What else did I see? So I didn't get to talk about this last week, and I couldn't talk about it the week that I saw it because of how embargoes work in the industry. But I have seen Wonka, folks. Wonka comes out this week, December 15th, in theaters with Timothée Chalamet, and it's pretty good. It doesn't shake a stick at the original for me because the original is kind of like a holy, movie for me. I love it.
I've said this many times. Chalamet is no Wilder.
No, of course not. And to be honest, Timothy Chalamet.
Wow, what a bold prediction.
Yeah, no, I said that. Yeah, many times.
Timothy Chalamet is the reason that I don't love this movie. I liked it. It does a great origin story about Willy Wonka, something that I didn't think that I needed or wanted. It does some clever things with it. It doesn't do the.
Does it build a good world?
It does. It does. The production design is fantastic. The way it establishes Wonka and like as he comes up as a character, it's interesting. It doesn't do the lazy kind of like Easter egg stuff that you would expect, where it's like, oh, that's how he got his hat. Oh, that's why his jacket's purple. Doesn't do any of that stupid fucking bullshit. And Hugh Grant as the Oompa Loompa that he plays is fantastic.
Does he do well? Because I was a little worried there.
He's so perfectly dry, just like Hugh Grant is, and the character is just so like he's a little bit of like just a rascal, and what he's doing and the way he's a foil for Wonka is good. But Timothy Chalamet, I like him as an actor. I think he's pretty good. I don't think he's worth all the hype that he's getting right now. I think he's solid. This is not the role for him. It always feels like he's pretending to be Willy Wonka, and not in a way where like you ever get like lost in like, oh, he has become Willy Wonka, or this is like, it's not just him playing a character. Like when you see Tom Hanks as Forrest Gump,
he's a bit one.
You see Tom Hanks as Forrest Gump, you don't see Tom Hanks. You see Forrest Gump. You know, like a good actor disappears in the role.
I like Timothy Chalamet in Little Women. I thought he was good.
Yes,
there.
He's great. Timothy Chalamet just never feels authentic when he's playing Willy Wonka. There are moments when he shows his like a quirky side, or he's being a little goofy, and you see these moments in the trailer. And when I saw those bits in the trailer, I was like, ooh, that is not how I want that to work. And it's not better in the movie. And
it's not better.
He works very well for the emotional core moments, because what I liked about this movie, and where it kind of overcomes the original, is it has a much stronger emotional core. It packs a good heart to it because of how it ties to Wonka's mother. Like, she's kind of the impetus for why he wants to be a chocolatier and whatnot, and that's a nice core to have. Paul King really like focuses on having a big beating heart in his movie.
Because I heard that this is basically, it's nothing like the original in that it's like more of a feel good like romp than it is like a dangerous,
in a way,
child murdering.
Absolutely. There's satire to be found for sure, especially about capitalism and stuff like that. But it definitely is Paul King bringing a much more whimsical approach
light.
to Roald Dahl's material. So
is this source material from Roald Dahl? I mean,
it's just the character.
Just the character, and there are certain elements that they have pulled that were like revealed in either of the books.
That's why I wasn't sure.
Yeah. But it's not based on any single book or anything like that. It feels refreshing. The songs are good. The supporting cast is really what makes it, and that's another thing that makes Chalamet's performance not pop very well. Is the supporting cast members are also good at playing these quirky, cartoonish characters who perfectly inhabit this fantastical world that Paul King has created for them to exist in. That Chalamet's performance, when he's trying to be eccentric and weird, it doesn't feel like it's on par, and like it's like, well, you're not as unique or like strange as any of these other characters around you. Like Olivia Colman as this woman who like tricks him into like staying in her hostel, and he gets stuck in like a contract and he has to stay there and wash laundry in the basement. Any of the people who
Sally Hawkins is in it. These are great.
Well, Sally Hawkins plays his mother in flashbacks. But like all three of the people who are part of the chocolate cartel, Slugworth, and you have Matt Lucas as one of the other ones. They're very cartoonish as well, and so
all very good actors too.
Everyone is fantastic.
So is this a failure of direction though?
It's not a failure of direction. I just think that and partially it is because Paul King cast Timothy Chalamet.
I catch you, and like, well, this isn't working. I need you to be more.
Yeah, and I think Paul King was satisfied with what Timothy Chalamet did. And here's the thing, I'm partially in the minority here. I have seen lots of people praising Timothy Chalamet and saying how great he was and everything. And I wish I saw the performance that they did, because I just did not enjoy him in this role. He doesn't ruin the movie for me because of how great the ensemble cast is, how good the story is, how all these elements around him are very good. But he brings it down a little bit. He just kind of makes it doesn't pop as much as it should.
In 2018, when Paul King was in negotiations to direct, some of the names that they were kind of throwing around for Wonka was
remind me
Donald Glover.
Oof.
I kind
That'd
of
be interesting.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling.
I'm so glad you said that, because somebody else asked me, well, who would you have instead? And I was like, well, if he was young enough, Ryan Gosling.
I mean, you say that for everybody.
That's because he's a fucking chameleon. He's a treasure, and he's amazing.
You say Ryan Gosling every time. It's like, well, who would you? Ryan Gosling. Every time.
He is. And then
give me a reason not to.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
The third one, I think Ben's going to be a little more a fan of than I am, Ezra Miller.
Oof, yuck. Although I will say, if Ezra,
was Emil Hirsch not available?
if Ezra Miller didn't have his whole troubled situation,
Yeah, absolutely.
he would have given a great performance
Yes.
as Wonka.
Better than Chalamet.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think
More
so.
like Timothy Charlatan.
Boy, but yeah.
So, you know
and
what?
then another-
Hey. No.
Another one. What do you think about this one? The other one, this is after. So this is even more recently because Chalamet was cast in January 2021. So then there was 3 years between those
Yeah.
conversations.
Paul Giamatti.
The other one,
2 years.
Tom Holland.
I could see that, but I could also.
Do you think better than Chalamet?
I think Tom Holland has shown an affinity for comedic stuff that Chalamet hasn't, and that's what gives me the thought that he probably would be pretty good. But I don't know if Holland's penchant for comedy has limitations in the same way that Chalamet does.
I will say this:
have.
Holland is a better musician, right? He can do musical theater.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Chalamet has the same problem that Johnny Depp has in Sweeney Todd, in that he does not have a strong enough voice to lead a musical like this. Like you need someone who's got like lungs, you know.
You know who does though, Ben? Ryan Gosling.
So
it's true.
The thing that and I have not been necessarily on the Chalamet train since
He's a good-looking man. I mean, I don't.
He's fine. The reason, and this is not his fault at all, but the reason I can't ever believe him as the character is because he has a very distinct lisp to me that I always just think that's Timothy Chalamet. That's the thing that doesn't allow me to believe him as the character, because it's always the same voice. He can't get rid of that. And again, I want to be very clear. This is not a bit. It's not his fault, and he's in spite of that.
I don't even think it's a lisp necessarily. It's just it's something about the way he.
Okay, I'm calling it a lisp, but you
I know
what
what
I
you're
mean.
saying,
No, there's a vocal intonation or something. Yep.
His delivery does not change no matter what he's doing.
Right. Yeah.
So while that worked in Little Women, right?
Yeah.
I believed him as that character, but that was the first time I had seen him.
It's funny you say that. Back to my point with Kristen Stewart. That's my problem with Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to believe them in the role, like Brad said. But to me, it's because the flat, maybe not even flat, delivery is always the same.
Yeah.
It's just the same delivery, right? It could be a fine delivery in one way, but there's no differences.
You've got to disappear into that role and change your voice to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And he doesn't do that. So yeah, but yeah, I like.
Still worth seeing though.
I honestly would give it
More
a
like
shot.
Willy Wonka.
I would give it a shot.
Where are we on Rotten Tomatoes with it roughly?
I don't know.
110%.
No, I didn't know if it's being liked more.
It is.
Than you are
initially the first reactions that I saw when the social embargo broke were people were pretty high on it.
Okay.
I know that there were some people who, but
because this is the same director that did Paddington, right?
Yeah, both Paddingtons.
Oh yeah,
84% right now.
Yeah, no, I'll see. It's
with
it's
107
certified
reviews.
fresh. Yeah, it's certified fresh.
Fuck me, right?
No, I kind of agree with you on Timothy Chalamet. I like Timothy Chalamet.
I didn't even give the movie a negative review either. I gave it a 7 out of 10, and I will say I liked it for the most part. But Timothy Chalamet brings it down.
So, are you saying then maybe a little bit that you're disappointed because it is a better film if Timothy Chalamet's not in it?
Yes,
it was a 10 out of 10, and then Chalamet brought it all the way down.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
7.
not to say he did, but he kind of did, right?
Yeah.
Like it'd be maybe an 8 or a 9.
Yeah. There are several elements of Chalamet's performance that just make the movie drop a bit.
Because Paul King is his name, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is great at. Again, I'm such a big fan of the Paddington films, but he is great at whimsy.
Yeah,
more like Gimothy, less Chalamet.
So I trust him with Wonka.
It's pretty good.
Third one's a charm. Okay, no, it's fine. It's fine. I got one more question for Brad. Is there anything else you watched?
Yes, I watched my assigned movie from my good friend Ben Konowitz, and that is a movie called Funny Farm that is starring Chevy Chase and is directed by George Roy Hill. What did George Roy Hill direct, Ben?
George Roy Hill directed The Blues Brothers.
He did not.
Okay.
But I did like the confidence in which you said that.
You know, if that was right, though, would have been awesome.
Oh, I would have been great. I was honestly really impressed that you really quickly fired back.
I wish you knew, because he directed another movie that you assigned me, and I wish you remembered this. He directed Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And The Sting.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a very prolific director, and he is...
That's crazy he directed that, then.
I know, yeah. And this was actually his last movie, Funny Farm was.
I mean, that makes sense because Butch Cassidy's 67, Funny Farm 96?
88.
88, wow.
Yeah. So
you got a 20-some year career.
Yeah. Now, Ben, I'm going to give you a little bit of shit about this movie.
I haven't seen this in a very long time.
So not because it's bad, but because of the way you sold it to me kind of ruined the ending.
Really?
So
and by selling it to you, is he just told you the ending?
But I don't think he realized that he was doing this. So
No.
Ben, tell the people how you described the movie.
Yeah, so I said this is a movie about a guy that him and his wife buy a house, and they immediately realize that the town hates them, and they are just he hates them, they hate him, and so he basically says, I've got to sell this house. So the movie is about he's paying these townspeople to like act like they like him because there's buyers that are going to come buy this house, and he's got to make sure that it's this idyllic, like we're going to release a deer in the backyard on a perfect snowy winter's day, and it's going to be perfect, and then we'll get the fuck out of town because you hate us, and you'll get new people that you might like. That's how I described it to Brad.
So what Ben just described to you is the last 20 minutes of Funny Farm.
And honestly, because it's been so long, I don't remember that. I thought that was the whole movie.
So I spent like most of this movie thinking, when the fuck is this going to happen? Like, are they going to cram this into the end of this movie?
I'm actually very happy that I did this. Oh my God, that's so great. So Brad, now, okay, I want you right now. What is the first 80% of this movie about? Because I don't remember.
Ben.
So
remind me.
So what this movie is actually about, it kind of is in a similar vein of The Burbs, where Chevy Chase and his girlfriend wife they move.
Oh yeah.
They move from the city to a farm in the middle of nowhere. He's been a successful sports journalist, but he just got an advance to write a novel. They're moving to this nice farm called Redbud, and they're going to spend their time there. He's going to write his book. Everything's going to be great. They get there, and it's not terrible. Like, there's a few things that go wrong. They have some mishaps in town, but by no means does anybody in the town really hate him. There's a couple of people who are frustrated with him.
The mailman immediately.
The mailman doesn't hate them. He's just crazy. But and
this is me remembering.
Yeah, there's a fishing debacle that happens, but like they don't have like an outright horrible relationship with everybody in the town. But they come to not really enjoy it. But the real crux of it is why this happens is because while they're there, he doesn't write a good book. His wife ends up hating it.
That's right.
And she writes a successful children's book.
Hold on. She reads it and like tells
him that
it's bad,
and it's
right?
That scene is hilarious too.
Yeah.
And so, but then while she's been there, she's been writing this children's book that gets bought, and she gets in advance, and he gets frustrated by it. So he kind of starts sabotaging and making things bad. That does come into play later though, where they want to get a divorce, and so they have to sell the house. They're not selling it because everyone hates them.
Sorry. See, this is crazy.
But now I want to see that movie where they do move somewhere and like they do piss off everybody, and they're like, okay, well, we got to figure this out, and like and half the movie is them trying to like convince everyone.
So, remake Funny Farm starring Ryan Gosling.
There you go. I would love it. But yeah, so I did enjoy this movie though. There's some really great slapstick comedy elements in this.
It's Chevy Chase. So obviously everybody knows Chevy Chase, but the reason that I remember liking it a lot is because there's nobody that plays a lovable asshole.
Yeah, and he was at the top of his game at this point, right?
And so to watch the neighbors interact with him and like just this passive aggressive, like this smile that you're saying, hey, fuck you, asshole.
Yeah.
Chevy Chase does that better than anybody.
Yeah.
He has a little bit of that in Christmas Vacation as well.
Oh, of course, 100%. And I remember liking it a lot. So I told Brad, though, one of the reasons that I liked this movie a lot, when I think it was formative for my business career, because I remember the transactional relationship that he had with the town was like, I'm going to pay you, and we're going to make this perfect for the buyer. It was like in my head, even at a young age, when I saw this probably when it was on VHS in like the early 90s. I was probably 11 or 12, and I just remember thinking how perfect it was that like, oh, you can make a plan come together, and you can pay people, and this will happen. I remember thinking that at the time. And that was probably one of the first times I thought I want to get into business.
But yeah, it's very funny, and like I do wonder what it would have been like to watch it not thinking and sitting there.
Man.
When is this going to happen? I wasn't upset by it, but I was just like, oh, that's weird. That's how he remembered this movie.
Yeah, that's crazy. So from now on, if I want to give you a movie that is more than 20 years old, I should watch it first.
But yeah, I still liked it. It was an enjoyable movie. I'm glad I saw it.
Awesome.
What have you seen, Ben?
I wrote them all down because it's been a couple weeks, and I actually did. I did.
You did the work.
I did the work this time around, guys. So I watched Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, finally.
Yeah, I got around to it.
And
what'd you think?
You know what? It's better than Brad. And I'm not being a dick.
No.
It's better than you laid it out to me.
My boys loved this film.
You were disappointed in it, and I thought that it was better than that. I thought that there was enough. I don't know. There was enough. Like Jack Black as Bowser is incredible. Like I
love Jack Black as Bowser.
Really
good.
Chris Pratt's not bad. He's not great, but he's not bad.
I do like that they established early on in the commercial he's putting on a voice, and that's not his real voice. That worked for me. I do agree that there could have been more adult like comedy stuff that wouldn't have ruined it for kids, but at the same time, there was so much side-scrolling stuff that was so cool. Like, I remember, obviously, Mario is a side-scroller. Like, you just go left to right. And there were so many cool visuals about that.
Visuals are great.
I really loved
the
it.
visuals.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I just, there was enough good about it that it made up for the lack of, like, real plot and, like, how quickly they jump in.
Did you have fun watching it? Because I think that's why a lot of people liked it. It was just fun.
And
it was just.
I get it, though. Like, the interaction between Mario and Princess Peach was, like, 3 seconds. And she's like, well, let's go on an adventure. Like, there's no real, like, development.
The script is
there.
terrible.
It's terrible. But even despite that, though, I still had a good time watching it. So it was, and honestly, hour 30 minutes is exactly how long that needed to be. I was happy with it overall.
I mean, it is it's a top 5 revenue film for this year. Is that right?
Yeah, it's one of the big ones.
No, I mean, I get why. Right? It was good enough.
Have you seen Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse
I have not yet.
Okay,
No,
yeah.
I
So
haven't.
watch that and you'll see what a real animated movie
that
is.
is.
But that's not really aimed at the same audience at all.
It is.
I mean, but that is a
is.
fantastic film.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not aimed at 6 to 9 year olds.
Yeah, it 100% is.
I think it's more.
It's
There's way more thematic elements.
10 to
Sure,
13-year-olds
it's made for a slightly more mature audience, but there
Exactly.
But
So it's not the same audience.
Brittany's sister has kids who are 5 and 6, and they fucking love those movies.
Well, of
Do
course,
they
it's
also like Super Mario Brothers?
Yeah, because they're both flashing lights and they don't understand anything. So yeah, you can't.
Oh,
tell
so
me,
all kids are stupid now.
yes, 5 to
Wow.
5 to
You
6
hear that,
year-olds,
Nate?
5 to 6 year olds, you could play.
I'm not a kid.
If you put Schindler's List in full Technicolor and just like had a bunch of flashing lights, they'd be like, I love Schindler's List. Like, they don't care.
I don't think that's true.
It's so true.
But what else you watch?
Anyway. I watched a movie that Brad forgot about that we saw together in Utah called Silent
Oh
Night.
yeah, that's the other one. I knew I was forgetting something.
Who's in that?
Joel Kinnaman.
Kinnaman. Yeah, I was
And
going to
it's
say.
a
John Woo movie.
So
Yeah, it's like.
so Joel Kinnaman, if you don't know, is Captain Flag from
I was gonna say.
Suicide Squad.
More importantly, he's RoboCop in the RoboCop remake.
Well, let's just forget about that because I did. So
I like him in Suicide Squad, actually.
He's
second
very,
Suicide
very serviceable. And yeah, he's good. So this movie, I unfortunately, bought into the hype on Twitter about how good it was, and it's John Woo's return to form. There are 20 things in this film that I've never seen before, and wow! So I went there and sat there and like, well, I'm waiting for the first one, and we're 90% through the movie. It's fine. It's just it's a John Wick wannabe. I said we got out of the theater, and I don't even know I said, oh, Randy Candle is here because it's basically that. It's like, what if John Wick wasn't an assassin? What if he was just a guy who tried to train himself after his kid gets killed, and he has to go after like this L7 mafia or whatever, a Latino gang?
It's a revenge film,
It's
right?
fine. I am such a revenge film nerd, though, that this is nowhere near the top. I mean, I've literally seen 10 to 15 revenge films that are way better than this.
Sure.
And it's and John Woo does a good job, and Kinnaman's fine.
It's not a bad film.
It's not a bad film.
It's enjoyable.
It's fine.
The other thing that you said that I totally agree with, and that's kind of like my sticking point for the criticism, is that we're in a post John Wick world,
Exactly.
and like it's really hard to match up the quality of action, even when you're John Woo.
And honestly, I mean,
the choreography just in John Wick alone is just amazing.
I will say that hot take here. It doesn't speak to how bad these are. It's to speak to how good the John Wick universe is.
Yeah.
Those directors and that actor specifically are so good at what they do. It really does make it hard for an all-time, I mean, maybe the best action director of all time. I mean, those fight scenes in The Killer and the shootout scene, they're incredible, indelible. He can't even compete now with John Wick.
Yeah.
It's changed the game for real. And the last time we saw something change the game that much as far as filmmaking in a genre was, to me, The Matrix. It changed the way things were shot. The bullet time became, a joke by the time Shrek came out or whatever, Shrek 2, 3, whatever. But in the moment, it changed the genre. And John Wick changed the genre. That's all it was. So that's why Silent Night doesn't work as well as we would have hoped to, but it was still serviceable. It was fine.
Yeah. Me and Ben had a couple of fun like running gags.
Oh my God, I was leaning in. I mean, what was the one?
The best, the my favorite one was that he smashes this like voice thing he gets because so he gets shot in the throat, so he can't talk throughout the movie.
So I know. So I will say that is different. Like he gets shot in the throat and he doesn't say a word the entire film. He's silent.
The whole movie is almost dialogue free, basically, in the same way that No One Will Save You.
But then Beyonce was in the theater next to us.
But no, so he smashes like the voice thing that like you can hold up to your throat so that you can talk.
And honestly, he opens the box and it looks very bespoke and just very like expensive as fuck, right?
And he just throws it down, and I just go, "That was $5,000."
Bradley goes, "That was $5,000."
And then there was two other instances where like he broke something. Like, that was $5,000.
And it was, of course, he like threw a popsicle stick. That was $5,000. It was. So we had a great time with that kind of stuff. But Brad and I have a great time every time.
We really do. We're just a couple friends.
I saw Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Mm-hmm. Not as good as Fallout, but still a very serviceable Mission Impossible movie. I don't know why it's got 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's not as good as that. It's way too long. There are a few confounding things in the movie. Specifically, this is not a spoiler. In the beginning of the film, there is an AI program that eventually will corrupt. They say it will get into our servers. Nate, why don't you look at me in my face? Because I want your opinion. This AI is, they say in the film, it will eventually get into our data servers and it will then be able to change what we read so we won't know the truth from fake news, basically, right? So their response here is, that has not happened yet. It will happen. So you cut to a scene of 1,000 CIA agents typing on manual typewriters. And my question is, why don't they just hit print? Because it hasn't happened yet. They know it hasn't. They've said it. It hasn't happened yet, but eventually it will happen. So just hit the print and print all the documents out and then keep them in the... Why are you manually reading them off of a computer screen and typing them? It made no sense to me.
Yeah, that is what we call in the industry a plot hole.
Yeah, big one. And that came in the first 20 minutes, and that's...
If I had to solve that by like trying to come up with an explanation, like if I were the person who's like tasked with doing that, I would say that even if the AI isn't doing that yet, if the AI realized what they were doing, like why they were printing out that stuff, then the AI could conceivably fuck up what they're doing.
Like do it quicker?
Yeah, and stop them from being able to do that.
That's, you know what? They should have had one sentence in the film that said that. They're like, why don't we just hit print? Okay, the movie's already 2 hours and 37 minutes long, and now it's 2 hours and 38 minutes long.
Yep.
We're good.
Yep.
All right, so fair enough, Brad. But no, the train scene it was great. One thing that Brad and I talked about was... I don't love that this has become, hey, here is 37 minutes of a documentary about the stunt that everybody's going to see. Here, it's prominently displayed in the trailer.
Yep.
And the whole time I'm watching the scene in the movie where there's no build-up.
All over YouTube.
Now it's there's build-up in the movie if you are living under a rock. But in the film, as a guy that's seen, I watched the behind-the-scenes documentary. I watched all the trailers. I'm waiting for him to get over the mountain like... Me, Benji, and everybody else in the audience knows what's about to happen. Tom Cruise's character is the only one that doesn't know. This is boring because I'm just waiting for you to do the stunt.
Yeah, that's a good point of overkilling that stunt that they were very, very proud of.
And I get it. It's a great stunt.
Yeah, but release that afterwards.
I don't, yeah.
Right? Like, because they released it like 3 months before the film came out.
It's the first time that I've watched a Mission Impossible where I'm going, because even watching Tom Cruise in a trailer hanging on to they didn't explain how they did it. They didn't do it, or at least I didn't see it.
Yeah, and even if it was, like you said, even if it wasn't just the trailer, they released so much more than that, though. Yeah. They released the behind the scenes. They released, and it became a part of a commercial. It was everywhere.
It was too much. And then last but not least, I watched my assigned movie by my good friend Nate Loucks. And a
Christmas movie.
I think we're good friends.
We are. Why? I gave you a good film to watch.
Because you gave me The Family Stone.
Yeah, with Craig T. Nelson.
Because you told me, and I quote,
Craig T. Nelson's in it.
This is a Christmas movie that I think you'll like.
Yeah, I do.
Brad, he said, this is a Christmas movie that I'll think you'll like. And here's the thing. This is the saddest most cringeworthy movie I've seen in quite a while.
Most cringeworthy.
It's so cringy.
It's not cringy.
I mean, there's some awkward
there's some
stuff in it,
tropiness
for
stuff
sure.
there, but like it's not cringeworthy.
No, it's not cringy because the characters are so good. It's cringeworthy because no one acts like that. This is a bad movie. Like,
Oh, I don't know about that.
Dermot McDillett or whatever he is.
Dermot McDillett.
Dylan McGrooney.
It's Dermot Mulroney.
Yeah, him. He is the worst character.
Why is he the worst?
He doesn't at all immediately fight for his, evidently the woman he's going to marry. He lets her get just needled by this horrible family over and over. He finally like steps into a stool and goes, "That's enough." Like 45 minutes into the film. It's like, you're a bad boyfriend. The family's fucking terrible. Everybody's just so shitty to her. She's terrible. There's not one redeeming person in this except the guy that was the love interest for Parks and Recreation, Amy Poehler.
Yeah.
He's the only redeemable character in this.
That's
Maybe
Paul Schneider.
maybe the deaf guy.
Mark Brandanowitz.
Yeah, Mark Brandanowitz. Maybe the deaf guy and his boyfriend.
But Rachel McAdams is cute.
Yeah, I was
She's
gonna say I love Rachel McAdams.
a terrible person.
But she's cute.
Yeah, she looks really cute.
And
she's wearing glasses.
The worst part about
And
this
she's a
film,
little feisty. And
Yeah.
I like that. I
The
like
wor-
a little feisty Rachel McAdams.
she's not a little feisty. She's a bitch.
A little feisty.
I think that's why I like it.
Listen, as somebody who likes people that make fun of them and take you down a peg, and I love that out of ladies.
I'm oddly attracted to that.
I'm very attracted to that. Bridge too far. Okay,
No.
Terrible.
I think Craig T. Nelson's a great dad.
He's fine.
Don't ever make fun of Craig T. Nelson. It's Coach.
So
Dauber.
I knew you were going to say. Why did I know I knew you were going to say that. Anyway,
Diane Keaton's great in this.
here's the worst part of this film. Spoiler alert from 20 years ago. It ends. So in the middle of the film, we find out that Sarah Jessica Parker's character hates gay people, and so when we find that out,
She doesn't hate
Yeah,
gay
she doesn't
people.
hate gay people. She just doesn't.
She's not woke.
Yeah, she doesn't know how to deal with it. Really.
She just doesn't. She says things that she shouldn't say.
they're not normal. You know, they're just not normal. Why wouldn't you want a normal child? And so instead of them being like, whoa,
But in 2000, I feel like that was a conversation.
Yeah, that
people
was
were
a normal conversation at the time.
I don't care.
I know. I'm just saying. I don't think they
for
were
that
trying to make her
family-
a bigot. Though.
Yeah, exactly.
For that family, though, it was normal. And so at the end of the fucking movie,
Yeah.
she ends up still in the family, not with a different guy, the guy she thought she fucked, but nobody has a problem with her still being there, even though the elephant in the room is like, oh, I still don't think that those two people are normal.
No, I don't think so. I don't
I
think.
think
that's-
I think her perspective
They
is
didn't have her grow as a character enough. They didn't say like I am. It never ended up 20 minutes later that she apologized for that.
but her perspective isn't that they're not normal and so they're bad. It's that it means that like their kid will have a more difficult life.
which was a fairly common thing that people
Yeah,
would
exactly.
make the argument for. Because again, you're going down this path, and there's that at that point. This is a path a little bit that you're choosing. Which
Yeah,
is
it's
wrong,
like
but-
why would you want to bring a child into an environment that will be inherently more difficult for them because of the
And as a parent, doesn't it make you sad because it's going to be harder for
Right,
them?
exactly.
Yeah. So instead of taking 2 minutes in the film to explain why Diane Keaton is being so bitchy towards Sarah Jessica Parker's character, because like or why Coach should come over and say like have an aside, like he is the one, by the way, that in this moment in this film could have pulled her aside and said that, hey, it's not a choice. It's not that, and they could have had that real conversation because that's what the family.
Yeah,
chose.
this
They
is
didn't
not a Hallmark film, though. This is a film based in reality.
But it's not based in reality because none of those are real reactions.
No, I disagree. I
actually
guarantee
think
you
this
that
is more real than a Lifetime movie. Where
yeah, there are families who like they have conversations like this. They
Called
think,
the
they
Loucks.
think this way. Yeah,
Yep.
No, but I get it. But then also Dylan McDermott's character would have been like
Dylan McDermott.
immediately
Dermot Mulroney.
fucking immediately would have stood up for her. Like in the moment where it got awkward, he would have said like, "Hey,
I don't know. I know
That-
a lot
that's
of passive guys like
That's
that.
the thing.
I know a lot of passive guys like that.
You're not this person.
they let it ride so long.
You're not this person. So
and that's why it's cringeworthy."
you're not this person, so you wouldn't do that. But there are
I know
definitely
people like
there are
this.
definitely men who in their family they can't stand up to their family in that
Yep.
way because they just don't have the strength to do
Are
it.
you fucking serious right
Dead
now?
serious.
And I think there's a layer here that you're missing for Diane Keaton's character, who is
Dying.
dying, and I think she's mourning her death, and I think people there don't know she's dying, right? So I think
no, hold on.
I think that's why it added complexity to Diane Keaton's characters because she knows and Craig T. Nelson knows something that's going on.
There's a scene where she says no to giving him the ring, right?
Yep.
I want to give Grandma's ring to my. I'm going to ask her.
I have done enough weddings where that has actually happened.
And in that scene, I love Diane Keaton because she knows she's dying. She knows in her heart it's not the right woman for him, and that scene works. She's not being a bitch or bitchy in that scene. She's just being real. But everything else in this film feels so over the top and not necessary. Like Rachel McAdams' character, it goes so above and beyond. It's just we're supposed to believe that Rachel McAdams is just this quirky, fun thing, but like the thing they did in the Charades thing, where she points to, like, she makes her feel so terrible about, like, kind of gesturing towards a black guy. That's not what would really happen. It took me out of the film so many times. There were so many unbelievable things that happened here where you can do it in a better way that is more nuanced. And
you've never had in-laws that didn't like you, did you?
Never, because I'm Ben Konowitz. Come on.
He's never had in-laws.
Yeah, fuck in-laws. They're terrible. I don't know what's an in-law.
I don't think you're. I don't think you're completely wrong. That there's certainly some Hollywood to this film.
I will admit that I'm not that person. So it's not like, because my problem is I put myself into these roles and say, what would I do? And when I don't agree with what they're doing, I push back and I'm like, that's cringy. I would just explain myself away. I get that. But you guys should admit a little bit that everything is in this film. The characterization is so heightened and so weird and over the top.
Let me give you.
It's too much.
In a way, sure. But I knowing and hearing about family drama from other people that I know and things like that, some of the stuff that happens here is not as out of the ordinary as you think. You haven't experienced it because your family's not like that. But
we don't talk.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. I've talked to a lot of people who have had plenty of situations like this.
All right. So if you are listening to this right now, I'm seriously. You guys, I'm seriously. If you're listening to this right now, please you don't have to comment publicly because maybe you don't want to, but send Go Flix Yourself a Facebook message and just say, I think that this is more spot on to an actual family, or you agree with me and you say, you're right, no one acts like this. I really do want to have like a couple of responses. I need to know if I'm right or if Brad's right.
Roger Ebert says
Nate agrees with me too.
We don't talk about that.
Well, I recommended the film, but Roger Ebert.
But yeah, you recommend it because it's a very sad and depressing and cringy film. You hate me.
It's been a hard year. Roger Ebert said this. He says this film is silly at times. He gave it a 3 out of 4 stars. Is silly at times, leaning towards the screwball tradition of everyone racing around the house at the same time in a panic fueled by serial misunderstandings. However, there's also a thoughtful side involving the long and loving marriage of Sybil and Kelly. So he recommends the film, and it is complex. Yeah. It has a little bit, and maybe it leans in some scenes it leans a little hard on some of the screwballiness, or maybe
But it's a movie too,
but I think the performances are good. It's and it ends in a way that I was happy with. So, yeah.
Well, I've never agreed with Roger Ebert once, and I don't agree with him now.
You don't like Roger Ebert?
No, I love him.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I love him. Fine. I'm wrong. You know what, guys? Family Stone, 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. Not awkward at all. People, it's a perfect example of what people actually do.
It's a happy Christmas movie, right?
A happy Christmas movie, and everybody learns a lesson.
Especially Ben.
That's it. That's all I watched.
That's it.
So we've got some trailers.
We did watch some trailers, and I know that we have to do a trailer song. So, Ben, if you want to get on that train and do one.
It's beginning to look a lot like trailers. With Brad and Nate and Ben. Ooh. And sometimes we're going to watch, and sometimes we're going to listen, and then we'll talk.
Okay, I think you forgot how the song went, but I applaud the effort.
I do like that, yeah. I like it.
Make me do a song, you're not allowed to shit on me.
That is true. We support each other.
This is a yes and podcast.
All right. What do you guys want to talk about first?
Let's talk about Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire.
How do you pronounce that?
It's pronounced Godzilla Twitter Kong.
Oh no!
What is it? What is it? Godzilla verse Kong? Godzilla.
It's not verse because they would have used verse again, but they didn't. I don't know if it's got like Godzilla by Kong or like Godzilla with Kong.
Very confusing to me.
It's multiplication, guys. It's Godzilla times Kong.
Mm-hmm, that's a good point.
The New Empire.
The New Empire. So this is the latest in the more recent stream of Godzilla and King Kong movies, following Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Kong Skull Island, and Godzilla vs. Kong. This is the latest, continues the story, picks up the thread of the Hollow Earth from Godzilla vs. Kong, where there is basically a whole other existence under the surface of planet Earth, which is where various kaiju have come from, and this expands it to where there's a new threat, and Godzilla and Kong will have to team up to fight it. There is a baby Kong. There's a new villainous ape who has some kind of skeleton bandolier. This looks wild.
This is outrageous.
Yeah, this is crazy kind of stuff. And honestly, I'm not upset about it because I kind of like when they bring a little bit of that like heightened sci-fi fantasy aspect to Godzilla, because Godzilla was grounded initially, the one with Bryan Cranston. Kong Skull Island is mostly grounded, even though it digs into a little bit more fantasy adventure territory. Godzilla King of the Monsters kept mostly grounded, added more monsters, wasn't as good as it should have been, and then Godzilla versus Kong started veering into like, oh, okay, we're getting a little wackadoo now.
Little wackadoo.
This looks too wackadoo for me.
I don't know. There's a certain level of wackadoo where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm on board.
Hey, I also didn't like this trailer. There was the part where like it goes quiet, and then it comes back full
It
force.
does feel
that was a weird edit.
Weird edit, and also then felt very video game-ish to me. Like,
so the weird edit. Let's talk about that just very quickly. I know that's very specific, but the weird edit became when they let Godzilla ramp up his pink spine stuff for way too long. If it would have started and then it would have cut, that's fine. They let it go for like 3 or 4 seconds of and then it ended. Like, whoa, that's weird.
I don't get that.
I understand the impetus behind what they did, because it does. If you watch the beginning of the trailer again, it echoes the
yeah. I get that.
It does feel weird though.
Don't do it.
It does feel odd. I do agree with you.
It didn't feel like the trailer gave me. I like actually the groundedness of the early films.
Yeah.
I liked that part of it, but it just. I don't know. There was nothing about this that made me want to see it. There was no plot in here that made me.
So okay, let me.
And this is meant to be the teaser. So like they're not necessarily giving the story yet.
Sorry. So I was going to say the exact same thing. I like this trailer because I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
And I love that about trailers. These days, too many times I'm like, well, that's the whole movie. And I hope that they lean into this more, where it's like, we don't know. Here's all the characters in just disparate, situations that we don't know. It'll come together in the film. Go see it.
And I'm sure people like get excited when they see Godzilla spewing fire.
Of course.
Okay,
it's not fire. It's called atomic breath.
Okay, but it doesn't excite me. It's just like, okay, so what?
Well, you're wrong, so it's okay.
Give me Bryan Cranston doing acting his butt off.
Sure. I
let them fight.
I'm interested in this just because I like seeing Godzilla and Kong together in this form. It looks like it could be a lot of fun.
Also, Kong's got a bionic arm.
For some reason.
I'm very curious about that. I maintain my explanation for it is that it's some kind of containment unit that he broke out of and it's still stuck to his hand, but now he can use it as a metal arm.
I think that it's John C. Reilly became a genius and gave him a metal arm.
Sure. I'd be down for that.
And it's gold instead of blue, so Chicago Cubs. And it doesn't work. Never mind. I'm out.
Yeah, well, do it.
We did it.
So you guys are going to see this in the theater, probably?
Oh, yeah, of course I'll see this in theaters.
Okay, not me.
I love seeing monsters fight.
All right.
It's true.
Other one, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
Hell to the yes.
I mean, what's there not to like on this? Right?
Just if you were listening to this and you haven't seen the trailer, you pause the podcast, you watch the trailer, and we don't even need to talk about it.
And guess what? And I'll take it a step further. If you haven't watched the trailer, you go watch the trailer, and you're like, "Oh, this isn't for me." Just stop listening to this podcast.
Yeah, stop.
Yeah, we're not for you either.
We're not for you.
This is just go away.
This is fantastic. Chris Hemsworth popping up like that is incredible.
Anya Taylor-Joy is in this. Chris Hemsworth, who listeners will know, Brad would say, for all the people you've interviewed in Hollywood, is the most beautiful person you've interviewed. Correct?
Very very handsome man in person. Yeah. Bonerific. He's almost unrecognizable in this movie. That the nose that he's wearing is
the very first cut to him, right?
Yeah, I was like, who is that?
Definitely was like, is that a character? Oh, and then, like again, like 1 second later,
you can't miss those baby blues though.
Yeah, it's Chris Hemsworth, but immediately I'm like, oh,
yeah, and it looks like he's not just a big beefhead, but like he's kind of got some funny in there too.
I was like, oh, that's the guy from Black Hat.
He is great in comedy though. So.
He is. He's fantastic. But yeah, I'm so on board for this. I love Mad Max Fury Road. It's one of the best action movies of the 21st century.
Agreed.
It's just incredible, and so I'm very excited to see what this is like. I will say, I feel like
now shit on it.
The action sequences.
I know. Yeah. I love Max Fury Road. It's the best thing ever, and this trailer looks incredible. I will say,
a little amateur to me.
No, so if you watch Mad Max Fury Road, you don't really see where there are obvious visual effects and stuff like that. A lot of
it's a trailer, Brad.
I know, but there are a lot of shots in this that feel like they are more visual effects heavy, and they look more artificial than what was saw in Mad Max Fury Road.
I kind of felt that way about the Godzilla trailer.
Well, that makes sense. But yeah. So there's a visual style.
Cut to Godzilla and Kong, where it's an actual monkey and a Gila monster fighting, and you're like, yeah, no, this is what I'm in for.
Fake. This is fake.
I think that if you compare some of the action shots in this trailer to some of the stuff in the movie, you'll see how much more practical Fury Road looks.
By the way, Hollywood, if you're listening, please, practical effects
of course,
whenever you can.
And Ben is partially right. It could be because it is a trailer and the visual effects don't always look finished. But I think even just the visual style. And
I get it.
The one saving grace is that this still is a George Miller movie. So maybe he's trying some stuff, and I'm perfectly fine with that.
And there's still time. This comes out. The Godzilla times Kong comes out. April 12th, and until I know what it's called, I'm calling it that. And Furiosa comes out May 24th. So there's still some time to work on those types of.
Yeah, but you're right, Brad. To your point, George Miller is very practical in his filmmaking, and I'm very much looking forward to this film. I honestly, I might be looking forward to this film in 2024 more than any other film.
What about Fall Guy?
It looks great, but this looks.
I'm very excited for the Fall Guy.
Yeah, fantastic.
Did you know Fall Guy stars Ryan Gosling?
He should be in a lot more things.
I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a movie podcast.
Also, we should bring back a recast. I want to do a recast again.
We can do a recast sometime.
Right. Nate, we used to do this thing where we would just recast movies.
All right.
Yeah, we would do it with like a modern cast of who you'd like
Top Gun, but like who would you pick now?
Yeah,
we
do some of that. I mean, I ask you guys that question, but like a full film, a full film
movie, and say, that'd
be fun.
I want to bring that back.
Yeah, we can do that sometime.
Next podcast.
I love it.
So thanks for listening, guys. We love talking about movies. We hope that you like hearing about movies. It's always fun just to hear from you guys. So if you have any feedback, if you want to put a review on
200th episode, which we will do nothing for.
I don't want to go that far, but I just know that we want to.
I said that we should do 100th episode spectacular, and Brad poo-pooed it. We never did it.
I didn't poo-poo it. I said that if we're going to do it, we got to do it right, and we need to make sure we can get a bunch of people together, and we never did it.
Whatever episode we're on, we're actually one episode behind because we never did 100.
It's funny because our other podcast, the 10 to 1, I told you guys last week, I said, guys, we're coming up on 50 real soon. We should do something fun for it. And then I went to edit it, and we're at 51 already.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoopsie doodle.
It gets away from you quickly.
It would be nice to do something. I just don't know if we have
get each other like a gift exchange.
Okay,
that's good for a podcast.
Yeah, people love hearing us unwrap paper.
Well, we can do ASMR.
Chew at the same time.
Do you want to eat the Biscoff cookies that you got us again?
Those aren't Biscoff cookies.
Whatever.
You know that.
Whatever.
You know it. Say it.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Nah, cheating, eh?